Seniors, you've probably taken magnesium at some point in your life. Maybe for sleep, maybe for cramps, maybe because someone told you it helps your heart, your nerves, or your bones. And if you're like many seniors I've spoken with over the years, you trusted that buying magnesium meant you were doing something good for your body. I hear this story constantly. A bottle on the nightstand. One tablet before bed. No second thoughts. But here's where things become uncomfortable. Magnesium isn't just magnesium. That word on the label hides something most people never realize. There are different forms, different chemical structures, different absorption behaviors, and some of them behave very differently inside an aging body compared to a younger one. As we get older, stomach acid changes, kidney filtration changes, and medication interactions increase. That means a supplement choice that once seemed harmless can suddenly produce unexpected results. In clinical nutrition literature and pharmacological evaluations, certain magnesium forms have repeatedly shown patterns of poor bioavailability, which means the body struggles to absorb and use them effectively. Others may create gastrointestinal distress, fluid imbalance, or interfere with medications commonly prescribed later in life. Bioavailability simply refers to how much of a substance actually reaches the bloodstream and becomes usable, not just how much is swallowed. That distinction alone reshapes the conversation. In this video, we will reveal and rank 5 magnesium forms seniors should approach with caution, moving from the least concerning to the one pharmacists privately flag most often. So stay with me, because number 1 has repeatedly surfaced in comparative analyses and could influence how your body responds to supplementation. Supporting research and sources are shared in the description for those who like to explore deeper. Before we dive in, I'd love to ask you something. How old are you today, and where are you watching from? I read through your comments and genuinely appreciate hearing your experiences. Now, without any further ado, let's begin with number 5, and please, if you have magnesium at home, go grab that bottle because you're going to want to check the label before this video is over. Number 5. Magnesium sulfate. You probably know magnesium sulfate by its much more common name, Epsom salt. For decades, people have dissolved it in warm baths to soothe sore muscles and achy joints, and that external use is generally fine and can actually feel wonderful after a long day. The problem starts when people decide to take magnesium sulfate orally, either as a supplement or as a laxative, thinking they're giving their body a healthy dose of magnesium. This is where things go wrong very quickly, especially for anyone over the age of 60. When you swallow magnesium sulfate, your body has an incredibly difficult time regulating how much of that magnesium actually enters your bloodstream versus how much floods your system all at once. A study published in the European Journal of Clinical Pharmacology found that oral magnesium sulfate creates a rapid and unpredictable spike in serum magnesium levels, which is the amount of magnesium floating around in your blood at any given time. For a younger person with perfectly functioning kidneys, that spike gets corrected fairly quickly. But here's what most people don't realize. After the age of 60, your kidney filtration rate naturally declines by roughly 1% every single year. That means your kidneys are already working harder than they used to, and when you dump a fast-absorbing, poorly regulated form of magnesium into your system, those kidneys can't clear the excess fast enough. The result can be hypermagnesemia, which is a dangerous condition where magnesium levels in your blood climb too high. Early symptoms include nausea, vomiting, and facial flushing. But in serious cases, it can lead to dangerously low blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, and in documented cases, cardiac arrest. The National Institutes of Health specifically warns that individuals with impaired renal function are at significantly higher risk for magnesium toxicity from oral magnesium sulfate. On top of all that, magnesium sulfate taken by mouth acts as an aggressive osmotic laxative. It pulls large amounts of water into your intestines to force a bowel movement, and for seniors who may already be dealing with dehydration issues or who take blood pressure medications that affect fluid balance, this can trigger a dangerous chain reaction of electrolyte imbalances. The bottom line is simple. Magnesium sulfate belongs in your bathtub, not in your stomach. There are far safer ways to get your magnesium, and this form carries too many risks for anyone whose kidneys aren't working at full capacity. But this next form is one that millions of seniors are taking right now without a second thought, and the hidden danger is something almost nobody talks about. But before we move forward, give this video a like and subscribe. What's ahead could change everything for your health. Number 4. Magnesium hydroxide. If you've ever reached for a bottle of milk of magnesia when you were feeling constipated or dealing with heartburn, you've already used magnesium hydroxide. It's been a household staple for generations, and because it's sold over the counter and has that familiar, almost nostalgic reputation, most people assume it's perfectly harmless. But when seniors start using magnesium hydroxide regularly, whether for digestive issues or because they think it counts as a magnesium supplement, the consequences can sneak up on them in ways that are genuinely frightening. The first major problem is that magnesium hydroxide was never designed to be a daily supplement. Its primary pharmaceutical purpose is as a short-term laxative and antacid. When you take it, it works by neutralizing stomach acid and drawing water into the intestines, which stimulates a bowel movement. That mechanism might sound harmless, but a study published in the World Journal of Gastroenterology found that chronic use of osmotic laxatives like magnesium hydroxide in elderly patients was associated with significant electrolyte disturbances, including dangerously low potassium and sodium levels. Those two electrolytes are absolutely critical for heart function, and when they drop too low, the risk of cardiac arrhythmias increases substantially. What makes this even more concerning is the dependency cycle it creates. When you use magnesium hydroxide regularly, your colon starts to rely on that artificial water influx to produce a bowel movement. Over time, the natural muscle contractions that move waste through your digestive system become weaker and less frequent. This is a condition called lazy bowel syndrome, and it's remarkably common in seniors who have been using milk of magnesia for months or years. Eventually, you reach a point where you literally cannot have a bowel movement without it, and that cycle is extremely difficult to break. There's another issue that rarely gets mentioned. Magnesium hydroxide significantly alters the pH of your stomach, making it much less acidic. While that sounds like a good thing if you're dealing with heartburn, your stomach acid exists for very important reasons. It's your first line of defense against harmful bacteria in food, and it's essential for the proper absorption of critical nutrients like vitamin B12, iron, and calcium. A study in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that long-term antacid use in older adults was independently associated with increased risk of B12 deficiency and iron deficiency anemia. So while you think you're solving one problem, you're quietly creating 2 or 3 more. For seniors who need relief from occasional constipation, there are much gentler approaches, and for those who want actual magnesium supplementation, this is simply the wrong tool for the job. It's a medication, not a supplement, and treating it like one can lead to a slow cascade of health problems that build up so gradually you might not even connect them to that innocent-looking blue bottle in your cabinet. And speaking of hidden dangers, the next form on our list contains something inside it that many researchers believe could be directly harming your brain cells every single time you take it. Number 3. Magnesium glutamate. This one is going to surprise a lot of people because magnesium glutamate sounds perfectly scientific and legitimate. It's magnesium bonded to glutamic acid, an amino acid that your body uses naturally for important functions, including brain signaling and protein synthesis. So on paper, it sounds like a smart combination. But the reality is far more complicated, and the deeper you look into the science, the more alarming it becomes, especially for aging brains. Glutamic acid is what neuroscientists call an excitatory neurotransmitter. That means its job is to stimulate nerve cells in your brain and get them firing. In normal, carefully regulated amounts, this process is essential for learning, memory, and basic cognitive function. But when you flood your system with extra glutamic acid by taking it as a supplement, you risk pushing those nerve cells into a state of overexcitation. This phenomenon has a specific name in medical science. It's called excitotoxicity, and it's exactly as dangerous as it sounds. A landmark study published in the journal Neurobiology of Aging found that aging brains are significantly more vulnerable to excitotoxic damage. The reason is that as we age, our neurons become less efficient at clearing excess glutamate from the spaces between brain cells, called the synaptic cleft. When glutamate lingers there too long and in too high a concentration, it essentially forces nerve cells to keep firing over and over until they become damaged or die. Researchers have linked this process to the progression of neurodegenerative conditions, including Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease. Dr. Russell Blaylock, a board-certified neurosurgeon, wrote extensively about the dangers of excitotoxins in his research, specifically warning that supplemental forms of glutamic acid bypass the body's normal regulatory mechanisms and deliver unnaturally high concentrations directly to the brain. Now, it's important to understand that the glutamic acid you get naturally from foods like tomatoes, mushrooms, and aged cheese is released slowly during digestion, and your body can regulate it properly. But when it arrives in supplement form bonded to magnesium, it's absorbed much more rapidly and in much higher concentrations, which is exactly the scenario that triggers excitotoxic stress. For seniors who are already concerned about cognitive decline, memory loss, or have a family history of neurological conditions, taking magnesium glutamate is essentially adding fuel to a fire. Your brain needs magnesium desperately. That's absolutely true. Magnesium actually serves as a natural protector against excitotoxicity by regulating calcium channels in your nerve cells. But the cruel irony is that this particular form delivers the magnesium alongside a compound that counteracts that very protection. There are many forms of magnesium that support brain health beautifully without carrying this risk, and choosing one of those instead is one of the simplest and smartest decisions a senior can make. Now, if you thought that was concerning, the next form on our list takes the same exact problem and makes it even worse, because the amino acid attached to it has been flagged by even more researchers as a serious threat to your nervous system. Number 2. Magnesium aspartate. If you just heard everything about magnesium glutamate and thought that sounded bad, let me introduce you to its close cousin, magnesium aspartate, which many experts argue is even more dangerous for the same reason, but with an added layer of risk that affects your entire nervous system, not just your brain. Magnesium aspartate is magnesium bonded to aspartic acid, another amino acid that functions as an excitatory neurotransmitter. Just like glutamic acid, aspartic acid's job is to stimulate nerve cells and get them firing. And just like glutamic acid, when you deliver it in concentrated supplemental doses, you create conditions ripe for excitotoxic damage. But here's what makes aspartic acid particularly concerning. Research published in the journal Experimental Neurology demonstrated that aspartic acid has a slightly different mechanism of action than glutamic acid. While both activate excitatory receptors on nerve cells, aspartic acid has a stronger affinity for a specific type of receptor called the NMDA receptor, which plays a central role in calcium signaling within neurons. When these receptors are overstimulated, they allow an excessive flood of calcium ions into the nerve cell. That calcium influx triggers a cascade of destructive processes, including the production of free radicals, mitochondrial dysfunction, and ultimately cell death. For seniors, this is a particularly devastating combination because the NMDA receptor system is already becoming dysregulated with age. A study in the Journal of Neurochemistry found that NMDA receptor function in the hippocampus, which is the brain region most critical for memory formation, becomes increasingly impaired after the age of 65. Adding supplemental aspartic acid to an already struggling system is like turning up the volume on speakers that are already distorting. You're not getting clearer sound, you're just accelerating the damage. But the concerns with magnesium aspartate extend beyond just the brain. Aspartic acid receptors exist throughout your entire nervous system, including the nerves that control your heart rhythm, your breathing, and the sensation in your hands and feet. Peripheral neuropathy, which is that tingling, burning, or numbness that so many seniors experience in their extremities, has been linked in multiple studies to chronic excitotoxic stress. A comprehensive review in the journal Neurotoxicology warned that long-term exposure to supplemental excitatory amino acids, including aspartate, may contribute to the progression of peripheral nerve damage, particularly in individuals who already have conditions like diabetes or cardiovascular disease that compromise nerve health. What makes this situation particularly frustrating is that magnesium aspartate is frequently included in combination supplements and multivitamins marketed specifically to older adults. It's often listed on labels as part of a magnesium blend, mixed in with other forms, so you might not even realize you're taking it unless you read the fine print carefully. Many of these products are sitting in the vitamin aisle right now with labels that say things like complete magnesium or advanced magnesium complex, and they contain aspartate as one of the primary forms. The magnesium itself isn't the enemy here. Your body absolutely needs it. But the delivery vehicle, the aspartic acid, is a ticking time bomb for an aging nervous system. Every single time you take a capsule of magnesium aspartate, you're getting a dose of magnesium your body wants alongside a dose of excitotoxin your body absolutely does not need. And the tragic part is that most seniors taking this form have no idea they're slowly contributing to the very neurological decline they're trying to prevent. Now, I saved the number one spot on this list for last because it's going to be the most controversial, the most surprising, and honestly, the most important thing you hear in this entire video. Number 1. Magnesium oxide. Here it is. The number one form of magnesium that seniors should absolutely stop taking, and it just happens to be the single most commonly sold magnesium supplement in the entire country. Walk into any pharmacy, any grocery store, any big box retailer, and pick up the first magnesium bottle you see. There's an overwhelming chance that when you flip it over and read the label, you'll find two words staring back at you: magnesium oxide. It's everywhere. It dominates the market. And it is the worst form of magnesium you could possibly choose if your goal is to get magnesium into your cells where it can do some good. A study published in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition tested the bioavailability of several common magnesium forms and found that magnesium oxide had an absorption rate of just 4%. Let me put that in perspective for you. If you take a standard 500 milligram capsule of magnesium oxide, your body is only absorbing roughly 20 milligrams of actual usable magnesium. The other 480 milligrams pass straight through your digestive system without ever reaching your bloodstream, your muscles, your heart, or your brain. You get more magnesium from eating a small handful of pumpkin seeds than you would from that entire capsule. Researchers in the study literally described the absorption as negligible and comparable to ingesting an inert substance, which in plain language means your body treats it almost like you swallowed a piece of chalk. So why is it everywhere? The answer is painfully simple. It's cheap. Magnesium oxide is one of the least expensive forms of magnesium to manufacture, and it contains a very high percentage of elemental magnesium by weight. That means supplement companies can print impressive-looking numbers on the bottle. They can write 500 milligrams of magnesium in bold letters and technically be telling the truth. But what they're not telling you is that the amount on the label and the amount your body can actually use are completely different numbers. It's marketing genius, and it's a health disaster. For seniors specifically, the problems with magnesium oxide go far beyond poor absorption. Because so much of it remains unabsorbed in your intestines, it acts as an osmotic laxative. It draws water into the bowel and frequently causes diarrhea, cramping, bloating, and significant gastrointestinal distress. A study in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that magnesium oxide caused significantly more gastrointestinal side effects than other forms of magnesium, with seniors being disproportionately affected because of age-related changes in gut motility and intestinal lining integrity. That chronic diarrhea isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. It leads to dehydration, which is already one of the most common health threats facing older adults. It flushes out critical electrolytes like potassium and sodium, which your heart needs to maintain a steady rhythm. And perhaps most ironically, The diarrhea caused by unabsorbed magnesium oxide can actually prevent your body from properly absorbing the other nutrients and medications you take, because everything is being rushed through your system too quickly for proper digestion to occur. There's another layer to this that almost nobody discusses. Many seniors take magnesium oxide specifically because their doctor told them they need more magnesium, perhaps for heart health, blood pressure management, blood sugar regulation, or bone density. These are all legitimate reasons to supplement, but because magnesium oxide delivers so little actual magnesium to the places that need it, these seniors go month after month believing they're addressing their deficiency when in reality, their levels have barely budged. A study published in Magnesium Research followed elderly patients who had been supplementing with magnesium oxide for over 6 months and found that their intracellular magnesium levels, which is the measurement that actually matters because it shows how much magnesium is inside your cells where it works, had not improved significantly compared to baseline. These people were spending money, dealing with digestive side effects, and getting virtually nothing in return. The same study showed that participants who switched to more bioavailable forms like magnesium glycinate or magnesium taurate saw meaningful improvements in their intracellular levels within just 8 to 12 weeks. The difference was staggering. If you currently have a bottle of magnesium oxide in your home, and statistically speaking, many of you watching this right now probably do, I want you to seriously consider replacing it with a form that your body can actually use. Magnesium glycinate is gentle on the stomach and excellently absorbed. Magnesium taurate is wonderful for heart health. Magnesium threonate has shown remarkable promise for brain health and cognitive function. Any of these options will deliver dramatically more magnesium to your cells than oxide ever could, without the digestive misery. You deserve to actually get what you're paying for, and magnesium oxide simply does not deliver on its promise. It is the single biggest magnesium scam on the market, and it has been hiding in plain sight for decades. So there you have it, the 5 forms of magnesium that seniors over 60 should absolutely avoid. From magnesium sulfate flooding your kidneys to magnesium hydroxide creating a dependency cycle, from the excitotoxic dangers lurking inside magnesium glutamate and magnesium aspartate, all the way to the massively overhyped magnesium oxide that's been taking your money and giving you almost nothing in return. Your health is too important to leave to guesswork, and now you have the knowledge to make an informed decision about what goes into your body. Magnesium is one of the most important minerals you can take as you age, but only if you're taking the right form. Go check that bottle in your cabinet, read the label, and if you see any of the 5 forms we talked about today, it might be time for a switch that could genuinely change how you feel every single day. If this video helped you or taught you something new, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video like this. We put out new content every week dedicated to helping you live a healthier, stronger, more informed life. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.